Thank you for tuning into the Malliard Report. Before the fastest hour in paranormal talk radio begins, go over to italkparanormal.com and sign up for the weekly newsletter.
The opinions expressed in the Malliard Report are those of the host and participants and are not intended to and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of any simulcasting radio network or sponsor. All listeners are advised to make their own decisions.
It's the Malliard Report, yeah, the Malliard Report, the paranormal talk radio show with Jim Malliard as your host. See what lies beneath any paranormal activity. Go inside a world that others don't want to see. It's the Malliard Report, yeah, the Malliard Report.
And that it is. I want to welcome everybody to the Malliard Report. I've been teasing A Vice for Art Bell. That's my paranormalheadlines.com tease, and I will finish that story out at the end of the show, of course, with my new final thought segment there towards the end of the show. So you have to stay tuned through Thomas-p-fusco to hear what my advice for Mr. Bell is going to be, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people are excited to hear this. So Thomas, how are you doing tonight, bud?
Very good, Jim. Good to be back on your show, man.
Well, you know, I did some homework. Now, don't quote me about being historically accurate about this, but you've done over 50 shows in the few months since April that you've been on my show, so you've been staying busy.
Oh, yeah. I've gosh, I think when I started promoting my work on the radio in November 2011. And I think I'm real close right now to 300 interviews since that time.
It's just impressive. It shows your dedication to your work and to the craft of doing interviews. I've done probably 4 in that time, and each one's different, and each one has a different flow, and they're all unique in that regard. So I can imagine how taxing it must be for you at times to have to craft or repeat the same thing over and over again. So.
Well, you know what they say, repetition is a salesman's virtue.
I do. That's why I'm not no good at selling anything.
But you know, you get pretty polished at what you do, and that's a great thing. So when you get on a show and you've got a decent host, middle of the road to good, you're going to have a great show. If you've got a really lame host, it doesn't matter what the guest does. The guest just simply cannot bail out the show.
That's too true. I've heard a number of shows that way, that you're listening because you support the guest, and then you try, and it just never comes together. So this is one of these polish points I'm sure you're good at. Give me a brief synopsis of the book, because it has been a few months now. Hopefully I've picked up a few new listeners since the last time you were on.
Yeah. You want me to talk about the book real quick?
Yeah, give me a brief rundown so people aren't completely lost that haven't heard you before.
Okay. I'm the author of the book Behind the Cosmic Veil. The subtitle is A New Vision of Reality Merging Science, the Spiritual, and the Supernatural. And essentially what it describes is a new conceptual theory of everything, which I call the theory of supergeometry or supergeometrics, that gives us a common foundation, a common theoretical framework in which conventional findings of science can be much easily merged with paranormal evidence and the supernatural and even traditional religious concepts. And they all kind of merge together in this one big model under this theory.
I'm still plugging through it. One of these days. It's a fascinating read because at least it makes me question so much every time I pick it up. So maybe it's the show host coming in out of me. I need to ask the question every page, or I don't know what it is. But so I want to talk to you about something that I don't want to say I had a huge hand in doing, but well, I did have a small part in it. The Paradigm Symposium. How did that go?
Hey, Paradigm Symposium. It was fantastic. It was incredible. I keep telling everybody the real stars of the show weren't the speakers. It was the people who attended. Just great people. And my presentation was essentially the last one. There was a publisher who talked about, his publishing trade and books that relate to that genre and those genres. But I was essentially the last one up to speak about, substantive material in those genres. And it came out really well. I got really good applause, good questions, good attentiveness. I didn't do the PowerPoint thing that everybody else did. I hate PowerPoint presentations. I used to sit through them in business meetings and sales meetings and all that, and somewhere along that line I swore to myself if I ever had to give a presentation like this, I would never do a PowerPoint. And I didn't have any notes, and so I just got down on the floor with the audience, didn't stand behind the podium, and just talked to them and talked about my ideas and laid it out, and it was received very, very well. I think I was the only author that got anywhere near selling out his books like I did, that were brought, we all had vendor tables with books on them. And, all I can say is I hope I get invited back next year.
Well, that's all we can hope. I mean, the first one's over now. We were been questioning if it would ever happen, so now we've kind of crossed that hurdle, so.
Yeah. Well, I'm certainly from the old school in that, it's not over until the fat lady sings. When I got on the airplane, was on my way, that's when I knew, hey, this is really going to happen. And up until that point, I think some of that has to do with not only my life experiences, but also with experiences in many radio interviews, some of which never did happen. And so I don't really know until the host calls and I'm on the phone and I'm ready to go.
So you had the opportunity to mingle with the other speakers. Is there one speaker that caught your eye as somebody that you needed to talk to more?
Well, I was really the only one who talked about any type of a cosmological theory. I was the only one that really focused on paranormal phenomena. I was kind of the token paranormalist. Most of the speakers...
That's not funny because I see all these banners for other events that are just... Anyways, go ahead, sorry. Didn't mean to interrupt.
Yeah, it was like that event, The Gathering, last year where they invited all those people from different genres. I think me and Chip Coffey were the token paranormalists.
Two extremes there, too, by the way.
What's that?
Two different extremes there, by the way.
Oh, yeah. Well, you're right. Everything there was UFO and conspiracy and alien abduction and, full disclosure and all that kind of stuff. But at the Paradigm, there was a lot of focus on, kind of the ancient alien type of thing, ancient cultures and, stone structures. L.A. Marzulli was there. He's a great speaker. He talked about the Nephilim, and David Weatherly was there. He talked about the black-eyed children, whatever they are. And Chris O'Brien was there. He talked about cattle mutilations. Scott Walter was there from the TV show Unearthing America. And, he started talking about his ideas with the Knights Templar and all that kind of stuff. And so really I was kind of the only guy that did what I did. And it was received very well.
That's the important thing. At least you were there and had something so unique, something different. At least you. Well, of course, there's not many people that hold a candle to your knowledge on that type of theory anyways, so I guess you're always going to be the different, there we go, I found a nice word, type of speaker.
Yeah, if those guys are considered out there, I'm really out there.
It's hard to believe because some of these UFO people are, well, I think they're abducted when they talk to me sometimes.
They're abducted before they talk to you, or while they're talking to you, or
pretty much. I'm going to say while they talk to me.
They're being abducted in the process of the interview.
Yeah, it seems like because sometimes they're so far gone. It's.
Oh yeah, boy, if I really start getting to talk about that on air, I'm going to get myself in trouble.
Hey.
I try to stay friends with everybody if I can. But yeah, there's a lot of, well, let's put it this way. One of the things that distinguishes my work is that it is very much founded in science. It's very logical, and it answers a whole lot of questions and brings a very a sensible framework to the table. I don't talk about the hybrid, changeling reptilian humanoids that are hiding under your bed or, real wild speculations, I just talk about this is the science and this is the ideas and this is where we can go with this. And of course, that my theory actually makes testable predictions.
Right.
Which distinguishes it from virtually anything you hear in these genres. So I guess on that alone, I'm tolerated.
I'm going to jump a little out of my comfort zone, so if I ask a stupid question, you're just going to have to bear with me.
All right. Now, I had a physics professor who said that the dumbest question was one that you don't ask.
Well, here we go then. So I've seen your comments on the article about dark matter not being found yet.
Oh yes.
So let's start with what people believe dark matter is, and then how it works into what you believe.
Okay. Let's start with the idea of what dark matter is, what's this all about, and how it came about in the scientific community. And in this one commentary, what I pointed out, the idea of dark matter is based on a finding and on two premises. The finding is that we have been able to increase our powers of observation of the universe through our technology sufficiently to detect that we find about 85% more gravitational effect in the universe than there is visible mass to account for. That's the finding. We've got all this gravitational effect and what they call gravitational bending and lensing with no visible adjacent mass. Now, the two premises in science are this. Number one, that gravity is a result of a mass warping and bending the space around it. And that warping of space, that bending of space, is what creates the effect known as gravity. I mean, that's pure Einstein right there. The second premise is that reality is the physical universe, and that the physical universe is reality, and that's it. There's nothing outside of the physical universe. What this second premise implies is that for every physical effect in the universe, there has to be an equally physical cause connected to the effect and contained in the same physical universe. So based on that, on the finding in these two premises, physicists